Welcome to the Firehouse Sergeants Podcast, hosted by Nicholas Palumbo.
Happy Monday night, everybody. And you know what that means? We are back with another Firehouse Sergeants podcast. This is episode 9 since the rebranding. And tonight we have a very special guest with us, as every week, Chief Jason Corthell. Chief Jason Corthell serves as Division Chief of Training with the Harris County, Texas ESD 13. Chief Corthell is a fourth-generation firefighter, a U.S. Marine veteran, and author of Freedom Found in Mental Health Memoir, and nationally recognized speaker on firefighter health, wellness, and leadership. In 2024, Chief Corthell was named Texas Fire Instructor of the Year by the Texas Association of Fire Educators. With more than 2 decades in the fire service, Jason has dedicated his career to helping firefighters become healthier, more resilient, and better prepared to lead both on and off the fire ground. We're looking forward to a great talk with Jason about leadership, firefighter wellness, mental health, and the role company officers play in building stronger crews. Chief Corthell, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate the awesome intro.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and talk to us.
Yeah, for sure, man. I heard about your podcast, obviously, last year. We were talking at conference, and I don't know, it's just something that interested me a lot. The kind of military, paramilitary fire service vibe that you bring, man. That's super cool.
I try. Working for the DOD, of course, I have a touch to that, but also, I mean, I'm sure you, with your Marine Corps background, have understand the symbolism between the informal leader of the firehouse, that senior man, and the sergeant or the corporal, lance corporal, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. Where'd you start? Where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up?
Yeah, man.
Fire service.
I was born in Portland, Oregon. I came into the world in 1985, which doesn't seem as long ago as it really is when I do math.
Oh, sure. When's your birthday?
May 19th.
Okay, on February 20th, 85.
Oh, sweet, man. It's a great year to be born. Look at them. They made them right that year, right?
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, no, we lived up in Oregon. My whole family's from up and around that area, northern Idaho. Shout out to Wallace, Idaho. Those are my people up there. And I moved to Texas a couple times, actually. So that's a long story in itself. But my grandparents moved to Texas. I followed with my mom, and then like high school happened, right? And like you're getting older, and you kind of want to be around your dad and whatnot, and so you move back and forth. And my stepdad was an amazing guy too, right? But dad was a football coach and whatnot, and I liked football, so I moved up there. I played high school ball up there, and he got to coach me for a little bit, which was really cool. Cool. But yeah, I mean, my dad was a firefighter as well. He still serves with Tualatin Valley Fire Department up there in Oregon. My grandpa was a fire chief in Wallace, Idaho, and my great grandpa was a fire chief as well for the same department that my dad now still runs with. So it's just really deep rooted up there in that area, the fire service. So I grew up with it, and it really made me want to venture towards that area. I always, wondered what I was going to do. And then it was just like, God slapped me in the face. Like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? And so, joining the fire service was one of those things that somewhat came naturally to me. Moved back to Texas. I went to fire school down here because I had some buddies that I ran with in middle school that actually ended up wanting to do fire school with me. So we did it together, and we still serve together. Pretty cool story. But yeah, that's how I ended up back in Texas. Marine Corps came into play after fire school. Did 4 years in the Marine Corps. got out, and went right back into the fire service, man. I missed it.
Now, what made you, because I mean, you said you were already on the job when you went to the Marines.
Yeah.
What made you, usually it's you get out of high school, you go into the service, and then you get out and you get on the job somewhere.
Yeah, I guess just being, a dumb high schooler, you don't realize that like there's, testing processes for fire departments, right? You think you go to school and you get out and you get handed a job, and that does happen nowadays in this area. But back when I was going through fire school, man, jobs were scarce. Full-time jobs were scarce. I mean, it was like full of departments were offering, jobs, and so you would test up against hundreds of people, and would be hard to land a full-time gig. And so I remember I tested for a city, probably about 45 minutes away, big metropolitan area, but not Houston. And I got done taking the test, the civil service test, and I scored like an 80 something. And I thought that was decent. I thought that was okay. And
right.
I was like, man, I was so far down on the list, and these people were getting like 115s and 110s and 105s. And I was like, how are they getting these? And so I looked it up, and, if you were a female, or if you were a minority, or if you were, had prior military experience, you got extra points. Right. And so I joke with everybody and say that I joined the Marine Corps for the 5 extra points, 4 years of misery for 5 extra points. And so that's really what prompted it, man. I was like, man, if I could get the edge, and get some extra points, man, I'll do the military. And I was going to go into the Air Force, and no, I'm not trying to bash the Air Force or anything like that, but the recruiter came and got me while I was sitting outside the Air Force office, and the Marine Corps recruiter, and he said, hey man, like, this was 2006. So, I mean, there was
we got firemen too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's like, man, there's some, there's still some major stuff ramping up. Like, if you go overseas, like, don't you want to train to be the best? And, and that was intriguing to me, because I'd just been through fire school, and I was like, well, if there's ever a time to do it, it's now. And I remember talking to my dad and stepdad, and they said, man, like, we wish we would have joined. We wish when we were younger, we would have joined, and we would have, done at least 4 years. And so that stuck with me, and it made me think, like, yeah, I'm going to jump on this. So that was the Marine Corps thing. So I finished fire school. I went into the Marine Corps, and then I did my EMT while I was in the Marine Corps. So my unit signed off on it, which was really cool. And I went to Triple Army Medical Center out in Hawaii. I did my EMT out there, and then when I got out, I was good to go. I just came right back to the fire service, man. So it was cool. I did like 2 years volunteer, and then I came back and I landed a paid job pretty quick.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Man. Yeah, it all worked out.
So what was your reaction going into, because obviously you weren't fresh out of high school anymore.
Yeah.
What was your reaction going into the Marine Corps, and was there ever a time where you were like, maybe this wasn't a good decision?
Oh yeah. Like the whole like
Harris Island, I've heard.
Yeah,
right around there.
Yeah. The whole first month was man, that was brutal. And even though I was a little bit older, I think I was 20 when I went in. I was 21 when I went in. So I was, I wasn't old, but I was older, because there's a lot of 18-year-olds in there.
Yeah.
And I guess I would say the one thing, the like more experienced you are in life, like the older you are in life, even just those 3 years, like you learn life and you learn life lessons and whatnot. You realize how much of a game boot camp is, right? Like you realize the mind game quicker than the younger kids that are just getting out of high school. And so that was a good thing, because like by, I would say, second phase, I kind of figured out, what was going on.
This is a game. It's all
great. Yeah, exactly. And then once you figure that out, you just play the game, you get through it, and you're done. And so like while I was in the Corps, like out, like in the field, actually, working and doing my job, I never once really regretted it. I enjoyed my time in the Corps. I still think back to some really cool times that I had, some cool stuff I got to do, the opportunities that were provided to me. Really, it just launches you, man. Like, it launches your life into warp speed. Like now you have on-base housing. I was married when I was in the Marine Corps. I had just had a baby. So like, bills were paid and things were coming up, and it's like, it hits you all so fast, but the military really takes care of you. If you lean into it, and you give it all you got, the military is going to give it all it has to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So now, were you a firefighter or crash rescue?
No,
I guess.
no. That was a story too, man. I could go on for days about my whole entire disturbing life.
Oh,
yeah, man. No, it was something that I wanted to do. And when I was going in, it was fixed wing aircraft mechanic or firefighter option, crash fire rescue.
Okay.
And the reason I wanted to go to the Air Force is because they still had a structure side. Yeah. And my recruiter talked me into going crash fire rescue. So I started gearing up to go that route. And when I got to MEPS, they told me that my eyesight wasn't good. It was 2025. It wasn't 2020. And I had to have 2020 to have this MOS. But I'd already planned the island. There's no way there's a naval base up there. So lo and behold, Naval Justice School, Rhode Island is where we went after combat training. And that's actually the Naval Prep School, if you didn't know, for Annapolis. So they're up there. So that was kind of cool to see all those guys up there and the officers that are getting ready to get geared up to go to Annapolis. But no, yeah, I went there, and then they said, "Hey, you're getting stationed in Hawaii," and so I said, "Okay, let's do it." So,
right.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I didn't reenlist, because I heard that your second reenlistment, if you get a good spot, your second reenlistment, you're screwed. So I was like, "I'm done. I'm good. I got Hawaii the first shot. I'm out of here." So,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, right.
But no, time in the Marine Corps was really cool, man. Really fun. A lot of fun memories. There's a lot of debauchery that happened. A lot of bad stuff that happened. It's in the book, but yeah, it was a really fun time. I met some really good people, and the most important thing that I tell everybody is I was exposed to the best leaders on planet Earth, and that is the Marine Corps officers. Man, you just can't beat them. You can't.
All right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your book. I'm going to bring that up right now. Freedom Found, a mental health memoir.
Yeah.
Mentioned in your bio.
Yeah.
And just as we're going through tonight, if you want to bring up references to the book, I have to admit I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I'm getting there.
I appreciate
some words.
Yeah.
Confusing.
yeah, right. Yeah. No, it's deep, man. It's a good book.
hits hard.
Yeah, it took me about 3 years to finish that project, and a lot of life happened in those 3 years. And when you're writing a book about your life, it's hard to stop the writing because you're like, I have so much more that's still happening.
Yeah.
So against my better judgment, my wife was like, all right, it's time.
You gotta land the plane.
Yeah, that's what I tell her all the time. So she told me that. But yeah, no, we published the book May 19th, on my birthday.
Okay.
Earlier this year, and it's been very rewarding to get people's comments and feedback from it. And part-time dispatch job for the toll road up here, and did that for a couple months, and then I landed my first full-time fire gig down in Pearland, Texas, just south of Houston, man. And I love that department so much. I still love that department so much. There's just so many fond memories and amazing people down there. Yeah, man, when I got that gig, I was so happy because I had put on my application that I had already gotten my TCFP certification, which is like the state fireman certification that you need to get hired to be a professional firefighter. And I hadn't yet because my certification had lapsed. So I had to reapply and retest. And I didn't get my test scores yet, but I checked yes on that box, and I got out of the interview with the fire chief, and I checked my results, and I had gotten it. So I was like, oh man, that's so good. Because, the fire chief was like, hey, we want you here and all this, fluffy stuff. And I was like, I want to be here, and basically the only way that I wouldn't have gotten in was if I didn't have that certification. Like I said, I did. And
Okay.
they let me in, and man, I got rocking down there. I was quick to promote. I promoted very quick. I was a little bit older, a little bit longer in the tooth. I was also a veteran. So, my rookie experience wasn't a typical rookie experience, I guess you could say. There was a lot of, self-driven training that I would put myself through, as far as, apparatus, memorization and territory memorization and, making sure I was in shape, working out. There wasn't a lot of company training. Our call volume was pretty heavy for the 2 stations that we ran at the time.
Okay.
So we didn't have a lot as far as the training side went, but I just felt like it was kind of left up to me to figure out how to be a rookie. You know what I mean? And so I tried to do the best that I could as far as duplicating a rookie experience, but it was hard. We had a captain that was in charge of a lot of different other projects. And so it made it difficult to kind of have that leadership over the top of me.
So now you mentioned not being a rookie and going through that rookie experience. It's actually funny. 2 weeks ago, I just started 3 weeks ago, one pay period ago, I started a transfer at a different DOD installation, right? And it hit me halfway through my first day. So I'm the new guy. I'm the probie.
Yeah.
I'm like, show me the streets, show me the truck, going through the cabinets, looking at everything, cleaning everything. And it hit me. My publisher had texted me and he's like, well, it's live. I hit print. And it hit me. I'm like, wow, define irony. The day I publish a book about being the senior man, and I'm the probie in a new firehouse.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
That's crazy, man.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That was what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations on your book,
thank you.
dude. That's awesome.
Thank you.
What's the title?
It is.
I know you had sent it to me in your
It is Firehouse Sergeants
application. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Firehouse Sergeants Earning Your Stripes. And it is all about informal leadership. And it connects the kind of the military non-commissioned officer with the importance of that senior firefighter. I used Firehouse Sergeants, one, because of that connection, and two, because I hate the term senior man.
Yeah.
Because or even senior firefighter, because it's ambiguous with age, or it's too tied in with age and time and grade.
Sure.
How many guys in your career have you met that were 20 years on the job and 15 on the couch?
Yeah, right.
They weren't investing themselves in the new guys coming in the door, or especially in an environment where you're already out of the academy.
Yeah.
You already went through the fire academy. You're coming in, and they're expecting you. Oh, you know that. You should know that already.
Yep.
Well,
yep.
I should know that, but I don't. That's your job to teach me.
Yeah.
So that it ties that all in with mentorship, and so
I love that, man.
Thank you. So, all right. So you get on the job, you get in the house, you're going through the paces, kind of creating your own probie experience, if you will, holding yourself to that standard.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. So now we're working towards, getting cleared, getting off my probationary year. That happens, go through my probie year. And I want to say I started driving the apparatus after it was 13 months, 14 months on the job. I started really, honing in on driving and taking that next step to become a driver. Okay. But with that, one of the things that I struggled with very early on that is, it's not embarrassing to say because I overcame it. And I really tried to impart on other people to never stop asking questions, never feel like you have a question that's going to like, embarrass the shit out of you to the point where, I don't know if I can cuss or not. My apologies.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. You don't want to necessarily, ask questions that you may feel that are embarrassing, but, so I go through the driving process, and I think I'm doing pretty well on the driving side. It's the pumping side that I'm having problems with, right?
Okay.
And so I basically get told, the 150 cheat code, right? The 150, 150, 150 cheat code with the fog nozzle, all that stuff, right? You have 100 PSI fog nozzle, like just let it ride at 150, we'll be good. They're 150 foot of the line. Yeah. And that's all fine and dandy until all hell breaks loose and you have 2.5 on the ground and you're pulling 200 foot of inch 3/4, not 150 foot. Then you start using smooth bores and all that crap. Right. And so like, that's all fun and games for, bread and butter, contents fire, whatnot. But, I got to a point where I tested for driver, and I made it, by the grace of God. I don't know how the hell they promoted me to driver, but I did. We were a small department. I mean, at that time, I think we were just starting to open up our third station, but it was a massive territory that we were covering. And we were transitioning from a volunteer department to a full-time paid department. And so there was a lot of moving parts there, and they needed to promote people very quickly, and they needed people in seats. And the area around us was growing too. So it wasn't like they could just pull from other departments and get these senior people over. So anyways, I got picked up. I asked one of the guys that I started getting close with. His name's Jacob Johnson. He was at the Taffy,
the Chief.
Chief Johnson. Yep. And I had known Jacob since fire school. He was in the class before us, so he would come up and, just give us a bunch of crap and tear us up every now and then. But I pulled him aside and I was like, "Hey man, like I want to come drive for you." And he was like, do you know what you're doing, basically? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like I know I'm good. Like I'm solid. And he knew that I was a volunteer at the department that I'm full-time at now. He knew I was a volunteer over there, and I had volunteered for a few years, and he knew that I was doing well in Pearland. I think I just won some award or something like that in Pearland. So yeah, I mean, I would say that he was excited to have me, and we got along really well, and that was a good thing. Well, it got to a point where, I started having like this crushing anxiety about what would happen if I had to actually pump the truck beyond my limited knowledge, because I didn't understand the correlation. Get this. I didn't understand the correlation between GPM and PSI. And I got promoted, right? And that's a problem. Yeah. I didn't understand the differences or how they worked together, what it meant to, I knew what they stood for, but I just didn't know how they worked together. Right.
I think a lot of people don't know that and don't understand that they don't know that.
Yeah. Right. You don't know what you don't know.
So the mere fact that you had anxiety over the fact that you didn't know that, but you knew that you didn't know that.
Yeah. Right.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like, I went to another department out here, and I worked part-time for a little bit, and they were putting a bunch of equations on the board and whatnot. And I just couldn't calculate them. I'm like, if you put me on a pump panel, I'll be able to figure it out. But if you put me with all these numbers in front of a whiteboard, I'm gone, I'm lost.
Yep.
So I pulled my officer aside, Jacob, when I got on my first, 1 or 2 shifts. And he said, "Hey, I just want to know what it is you don't know. And you can be as honest with me as you want. Nothing bad's going to happen. I just want to make sure that we get on the same page." And I told him that, and I was so damn embarrassed because there were questions on the test that asked those things. And I had no idea what I answered. I don't know if I got some of them right because I just guessed, or if, in the moment, God spoke through my pen or what. But I told him, and that was like the first time that I learned my first leadership lesson firsthand in the fire service. And that was, I was so scared to ask that question. But then he trained me from the bottom up. We started from like this is what GPM means. This is what it is. This is how it affects your hose. As the hose size goes up, your GPM goes up, your PSI goes down, like all this stuff, right? And, it got to the point now where right before I promoted, man, we're talking about counting the grease ports on the axle, like that's how detailed we got, because I had progressed all the way through the common stuff, right? And it was like, damn, like I knew my truck so damn well, because of this guy, right? Otherwise, I would have been too intimidated. I struggle with imposter syndrome, and so like admitting things like is challenging, because it feels like I feel like I'm going to be found out. Right at that time, I felt like I was going to be found out, and he just basically broke that wall down. He's like, dude, just stay with me. Tell me what you know. Tell me what you don't know, and we'll get through it together. And that was, that was life-changing to me. And so then I got to take that lesson as becoming one of the best drivers that we had in the department. And I got to train other drivers and other rookies to become that. Right. And I think that's the whole premise of why you do the show, is like, we get to share information and nuggets and lessons that we learn along the way, and other people get to pick those up. So yeah, I mean, if that was one of the main core lessons, is, man, don't ever be afraid to humble yourself. And for the leaders, you've got to create an atmosphere that allows for those transactions to happen. You cannot be that jerk. You can't be that a-hole that goes around and just blasts everybody for asking stupid questions, or no one's going to come to you with questions that could kill you, kill your crew, kill a civilian. You got to think about those things, man. You got to have a nurturing environment for those questions.
Well, so there's also a story. There's a story in a book that I read once. If you ever heard of Richard Hamilton, he was an FDNY lieutenant back in the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
And he talks about when he was a firefighter, he had a lieutenant, and the lieutenant was that guy that, don't do that. I didn't give you an order. You stand right here until I give you an order.
Right.
So there was a little bit of a rift there. And then this guy finally gets promoted off of the rescue, and he gets promoted to a truck company. And now he's a captain in a truck company, and his guys are at a fire one night, and he tells them, you two go to the roof. You two go check the rear. You two come with me. Well, the guys that were assigned to the roof did what the order was. You told me to go to the roof. I'm going to the roof. I'm here. You didn't give me any other orders to do anything. Sure. Fire mushrooms, starts spreading out, burns the whole block down. The chief does this big investigation, wants to know what happened. You guys were the first new truck company. Why didn't you cut the roof? We weren't given an order to cut the roof. He goes, well, you need an order to do your job. They looked at the chief, looked at the captain, looked back at the chief, and said, sir, in this company, we need an order to go to the bathroom. So you got to have that where, if you're leading with that type of culture and creating that type of culture, your guys are never going to come to you with a question. Yeah. And if you're that senior guy that wants to, be forceful and, oh, hey, go, the only thing you're driving is the Hoover or the mop, and hit the sink, and that kid's not going to come to you, or that guy's not, or girl's not going to come to you with a question.
Yeah.
They're not going to humble themselves, and,
Yeah. I mean, you've at that point, you've self-sabotaged yourself as a leader. I mean,
yeah,
you want to be something great, and you want to be one of the good, leaders. I've never heard of a good leader who has those attributes that you just described. Like, no, I don't care if you're in the city of Houston, FDNY, BFE fire department down the street. That's I don't care what organization you're part of. I don't care if you're in the fire service or not. You have got to, you've got to be able to talk and take care of people, man. I mean, those are the leaders that people look up to, and unfortunately, I've been exposed to some really crappy leaders in the fire service, and I've been exposed to some really good leaders in the fire service.
Absolutely.
the best leaders I can tell you right now are the ones that are relational, that let you know that, hey, I'm going to do my job, but at the same time, my job is to take care of you, and that is 100% true, man. Like mind, body, and soul. My job is to take care of you at the end of the day and make sure that we get you, on the up and up. And it's sad because I never had that issue when I was in the Marine Corps. Every leader that I had in the Marine Corps was like I said, man, just good as gold. I mean, I can't say it enough. And I got to learn, for 4 years from those individuals, and
That's
now
awesome.
we had some crazy stuff on the enlisted side, but as far as like the officer side and officer leadership, man, it was just insanely good. And when you shut down people and you go for a popularity contest instead of taking care of others and, maybe showing a little bit of grace, a little bit of understanding before you just completely shut the door on somebody. I mean, here's the deal, right? Like if you don't lie to me, I'm going to break my back to get you through the fire service and help you out. As long as you just don't lie to me, just tell me the truth.
Yep.
And we'll be good, man. But there's leaders out there still, I mean, to this day that they're just not like that. Man, they get their jollies off, blasting other people and putting other people down and, tearing people down, tearing rookies down, just easy targets, and it's an unfortunate thing. So I don't hold any grudges, but you know who you are out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So now you're driving for Jacob.
Yeah, I'm driving for Jacob.
I'm learning the trade.
Thinking about what my next step is down the road.
Now, let's excuse me. I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're good, man. You're good.
Let's give me a little bit about of the background. What how big is Pearland? How big is the department? How big is the area, population, stuff like that.
Yeah, so Pearland is a very large suburb. It's grown so much since I've been down there. We were a 2-station department when I went down there. We had a central station and we had an east side station. And since I've left, I believe they're at 8 stations now, something like that. But it's just down south of Houston. I mean, they literally, their mutual aid companies come from Houston at times if it's on the north side of the district. Okay. I don't want to misspeak because it's been a while since I've been down there, and Jacob will probably crucify me. But no, it's a great department, man, and they've done so much with the culture down there as far as the pride and ownership side things go. They have really poured back into their people, allowed their people to be firefighters, and that's big with Chief Johnson. He's a big traditionalist. And, he has his own story too, that I'm not one to tell, but, him and I trained a lot of people together and made a lot of mistakes in those trainings. And so while I'm bashing on bad leaders, man, there were points in my life where I was one of those bad leaders, and I'm thankful for Jacob for being humble and coming back around and admitting his faults, and me being able to admit my faults too. And now really imparting our ways on how we used to do things on others and saying, look, like, you don't have to learn this lesson. We learned it for you type of thing. Right. But yeah, no, Pearland's a great spot. I always tell people, man, look at the city of Pearland. I get to teach down at the college, so I'm always referring people down there. Hey, did you check out Pearland? Are they hiring? Because it's a good spot to be. I don't know the fire chief because they just got a brand new fire chief. Their last fire chief was a good one, man. Had a lot of good interaction and good conversation with him. So it's just a really, really cool spot, man. It's we went through a volunteer transition. So basically merged the department, volunteer full-time. And then like 2 years later, we went through a EMS and fire merger too, because there was Pearland EMS and then there was Pearland Fire, and we were two totally different entities. Okay. And so it was like, how do we navigate that? Because we have ambulances in the station right now, but we don't swap off, so like you don't ride the ambulance one day and then ride the engine or the ladder truck the next day.
Okay.
You just stay on your own stuff, and pay is different, and it's separate budget and everything.
Okay.
So we combined that, man, and we basically said, look, like if you're interested in, riding the fire truck, we're going to put you through fire school. And our guys were the fire guys were already EMTs. So for them, it was a seamless transition.
Okay.
We're just going to have you on the box and do that. But to get the medics through fire school, the ones that were interested, was a little bit of a task for sure. We had our own internal fire school that we ran, and man, I say it was a task, but it went a lot smoother than what I think everybody thought it was going to go. But then we had medics that we were able to rotate. Station 5, where I was at with Jacob, was a decent sized house. We had 2 medic units, and one of the medic units was an FTO. And then we had the pumper on the west side. The west side at that time was a little bit of an island of a station because we had so much expansion. We had to get a truck out there because of our ETJ, our extended jurisdiction, but also our mutual aid agencies were having trouble. We were getting beat in to our own district by our mutual aid agencies. So that's never fun.
Can't have that.
Yeah. So we put a station on the west side, man, and that was really cool because it felt like we were our own little fire department, out there. And we kind of ran it like that in a way. But we had 4, 7, we had 9 people in our firehouse, which was really cool. Going through the ranks, I got to promote. I told Jacob, I said, man, I want to drive here forever. Like, I don't ever want to leave. Like, I just want to drive you, and he's like, dude, like, you have a chance to promote, you shouldn't pass it up. You should at least take the test.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like, I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave this house. I don't want to leave this crew. Wouldn't you know it, I come out number 2 on the process, and I get to drive the person who came out as number 1 on the process. And so I was like, okay, like I understand it. Like, I get it. That's cool. Cause I was the most senior driver, I think, at that point. And so they wanted to put the most senior driver with the newest lieutenant to kind of balance it out. Right. Yeah. But the thing is like, that was
the ways.
Yeah. But I'm like, you're the guy who beat me. Like, how's that work?
Figure it out, Lieutenant. You should know that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, but no, there was nothing like that. There was no ill will, anything like that. The lieutenant that got promoted ahead of me 100% deserved it. I loved working for him. He's still, a really good dude. No shade being thrown that direction at all. Okay. But it was just interesting, the dynamics of it all, and how that worked. And then, I went through a catastrophic collapse, right as, I was about to get promoted. They were gonna spot opened, or they were opening another station, something like that. I don't know what the hell was going on, but that's when the stairwell collapse happened in the apartment complex. That got me and took me out of work for almost a year, about 9 months, and really changed my life, changed my perspective on a lot of stuff. Sent me down into some really dark places, some dark holes. That was kind of the premise of the book, was, figuring all that out. And so it was like,
now, if you don't mind, do you mind going back and talking a little bit about the incident?
Yeah, for sure, man. That's kind of the operational side of I guess, my story. So we, at that time, I was in Pearland full time, but I worked Cypress Creek, or Harris County ESD 13. It's a DBA, but okay. I worked there part time, and it was one of my off days, and so I was on shift over there. And we used to run 6A to 6P, and we'd get off at 6P, and the volunteers would come in and staff the night half of the shift. Okay. And so it was around, I think, 5:53. It was like 8 minutes before we got off shift. And what's really strange is earlier in the day, my ex-wife at the time had texted me a picture of me and my buddy and said, hey, do you want this picture? I found this picture of you and Gil. And I said, yeah. I said, that's from his sister's wedding. You know, we were in our full Class A uniform, like we were at a firefighter, you know, ceremony or something. Okay. But we went to her wedding like that, of course, because we were new volunteer firefighters, man. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But yeah, it was a really cool picture. I still have that picture, but I said, yeah, I said, I'll pick it up when I get the kids this weekend or whatever. And that reminded me to like reach out to Gil. And Gil had been married. At this point, he had 2 kids. And so like he was living this married life with 2 kids, and I was divorced, you know, single, drinking, falling into, you know, society's trap of what a divorced firefighter should be. And I was living that life to its fullest, right? Yeah. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And so we had kind of separated. We were still really close, but we had kind of lived different lives. And so it wasn't like we didn't talk to each other or hate each other. It was just like, hey man, like you're married with kids. I'm divorced with kids. Like I have a different circle now. Right. Yeah. So I texted him and I was like, hey man, look, you want to play basketball today? We can get together like old times and, you know, shoot some hoops at the station. And he said, yeah. He said, I'd love that actually. Like I'll be up there around 6:15. And I said, cool. I'll just hang out after shift and we can run a game or two with everybody. And so I texted that earlier in the day. And so like 5:53 rolls around and we get a call for a mutual aid fire down the street with one of our neighboring agencies. And, you know, that's, I don't know, I would probably say 75% of the time it's BS. You know, you show up and either it's nothing, or you show up and, you know, you're on deck, or you're writ, or, you know, you have this menial assignment most of the time because all their crews are inside doing the cool stuff. Yeah. Or you get disregarded. Right. And so we're turning down the main drag and I look over and I see this massive column. And I'm like, oh, damn, like this thing's working. It's a working apartment fire. So in the back, I have about 25 years of experience on the truck with me. To my left, driving is a guy who's been in HFD for probably 20 years as well. So, I mean, I had a lot of experience on that truck. I was in the right front seat. I was riding officer for the day. And we're headed down and we get there. And we're like the 4th pumper on location. There's already an aerial getting set up. And I hop off the truck and my firefighter goes around and goes to command and starts talking to command because he knows him from the city of Houston. Okay. And so he's like, hey, you know, engine so-and-so's here. We're ready to go. You know, what do you got for us? By that time I had come up behind him and he's like, I need you to take a 2.5, drop an apartment lay to the rear of the structure, meet up with engine whatever on the front side and pinch this thing off because it's running the roof line. So this was like a 1970s construction balloon frame apartment complex that had several facelifts, right? Okay. And so we're talking, this thing is just running. There's no fire stops, nothing in the attic that's going to stop it. And so show up. And so like from left to right, I see like the fire's moving to the right. The wind's blowing pretty good to the right. And so I'm like, look, if we can pinch it off in that first kind of section, that first hallway, let's do that. Let's go up in that stairwell, go to the 3rd floor, pop the ceiling, cut it off right there because they're already getting it from the front side of the structure. So let's just meet up with them on the back side of the structure and we'll just shut it down right there. That was my goal. Okay. Yeah. So we dropped the line. I'm starting to flake some more 2.5 out to make sure that we can get the apartment lay all the way to the back of the structure on the Charlie side. My buddy comes up from behind me and he's like, Jay, what do you need? And I look behind me and that's Gil, who I just texted. Yeah. And I was like, or just texted about the basketball game. And I hadn't made a call with him in ages, right? Because he was a volunteer and I was part-time. But he was already on his way up to the station for the basketball game. So he just changed course and came to the scene. And I said, man, I said, I need you to help me run this apartment lay. I said, we're going to take 1 3/4 up the stairwell here and try to get this thing in the attic. And meanwhile, his brother was on the engine crew on the other side of the wall on the front side. So there was a lot of things at play right now. So we drop that. We go around. I go back with 4. It's me, Gil, one of my other firefighters, and then the guy that works for the city of Houston that's been there for a long time, a lot of experience.
Okay.
He grabs the nozzle. He starts going up to the 3rd floor. Me and Gil, we're shucking hose down on the 1st floor. We're just trying to get around the pinch points. It's a common, exterior stairwell in an apartment complex. It's concrete stairs, steel railings, and steel I-beams holding the concrete stairs up. It's just common as you can get. There's nothing crazy about it. So we start wrapping around the staircase a little bit. So I'm kind of running up between the 2.5 and the 2 floor, and I'm pulling the line, trying to make sure that we're not catching kinks around the bends.
Okay.
And so I start flaking around the outside of the stairwell the best that I can. And my goal was to leave Gil down there and go up and meet my nozzleman so I can help him up there, and leave Gil down here so he can still do the hose. My other firefighter had gone around and met up with somebody on the backside, and they were looking to vent part of the roof because there was a 1st floor roof as well that was taking on some pretty good smoke. So they were off doing that. And we had Charlie Command as well. So there was some oversight. I don't want people to think like, we're just back there freelancing. We already had a
Texas
Charlie
Cowboys.
Yeah, that's right, man. We already had a Charlie division set up. We were good to go. So anyway, so I'm running back down, and I remember I came back down to, the 1st floor landing. So like you have your first set of stairs that go from the ground to the landing, and then there's 2 doors like this, right?
Okay.
And those are apartments, and there's that landing right there. And then you go up again, and there's 2 more doors and 2 more doors. Yep. So I come down to the first landing, and I told Gil something. I was like, hey man, like I'm going to go up and meet Greg up top, and you stay down here and just keep shucking hose until I tell you not to. And as soon as I said that, we like turned around a little bit, and I felt something kind of hit us, like nudge us a little bit, like sheetrock. And I was like, that's weird. Like we're outside, we're in a stairwell. Like that shouldn't happen. Right. Yeah. And before something could really snap and be like, oh, the stairwell is falling down on top of everybody. It just happened, man. It was crazy. It was just such an intense amount of weight that came down on us. And it took Gil and it pushed him up against the door, one of the doors from the 1st floor. And the landing landed on top of him. And the back brim of his helmet and the top of his SCBA bottle was holding up the landing. We're talking thousands of pounds of steel and concrete.
I was going to say, you said those are concrete stairs.
Yeah, concrete and steel, right? And so, he's hunched over, like his diaphragm's completely compromised. And he's a big guy, man, like big guy like me. And so, we don't bend that way. And so I'm hearing him, he's like struggling, like gasping for air. And I'm like, okay, did his mask get knocked off? Can you not get, because we were clicked in, can you not get air? What's going on? And I had landed, kind of belly down flat on the stairwell, and the stairs had kind of sandwiched me at an angle, like an upward angle. So I was in between the stairs, but I wasn't crushed like he was. But the thing is like how Gil was sitting, man, he was trying to self-extricate himself. But every time he moved, those stairs,
the weight of the stairs kept
it just started coming down on us, And so I'm yelling at him to quit moving, because as he's moving, more weight is coming down, right? But then at the same time, he can't breathe. Yeah. So I remember, dude, he was passing out, man. He was like in and out of consciousness, like telling me like, this is going to be the last time. And, hey, tell so-and-so I love them, and I'm like, dude, there's no way this is happening right now. Like even when it was happening, it was so unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's no freaking way, dude, that we get caught like this, And so I was laying there, and I had my, I think it was my right arm trapped underneath me. I was trying to get to my radio. I couldn't feel where my radio went, because I didn't know if there was a Mayday sent out or not. I didn't know what was on top of me.
Yeah, of course.
At that point, I thought the whole apartment complex had come down on top of us, like, because I didn't know.
You're face down.
And I was laying on my air hose. And so I was clicked in. And so every time I went to look up to see if I could find him.
You're
My
pulling
seal
your
would
face
break.
piece down.
And so I'd lose air. And so I'd have to just bury my face in my face piece. And I remember Gil saying that his legs were on fire. And I was like, man, like I need to get to him. And so I stuck my left arm out as far as I could get, and I just started sweeping, and I could feel his right leg as I would sweep. And that's all I could do is just kind of let him know, like, hey, I'm here. Like, I can't get you, but I'm here with you, And what's crazy is, man, you know how you always joke in the fire service and you joke in fire school and you're just like, yeah, you go, I go. And, all this macho machismo stuff like that. And, if you go down, I'm going down with you and all this. And it's just so different when it happens in real life, man. Like, I joke with them now, though, because we're allowed to, because we survived. But I'm like, dude, I didn't have a choice. Like, I just got stuck with you, bro. Like, even if I wanted to leave, I couldn't have left. So, you're the hero, not me, for sure. But yeah, so the Mayday went out. Mayday was called. There was 3 Maydays called out. There was 2 Maydays called out by one of the captains and one by the division chief that was there for the collapse. It was
now. Was it just like the stairwell collapsed, or did the whole building come down?
No, it was a stairwell. So what's just crazy is this is with the balloon frame construction, man. The wood or the steel and the concrete stairs were held by wood beams. And the wood beams extended into the walls.
Okay.
And so when that balloon frame construction, that fire started and that heated gas and smoke and fire went up, it started deteriorating the landings that were held up inside the walls. So, I mean, I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that. I mean, to me, this was bread and butter, but what I found out was the fire had actually started. I can't remember if it was the first or the second floor, but it started in one of the lower floors and it ran the wall up into the attic and it basically spared the other units. And so while it was running those walls, it was degrading the wood that was built in there. And it just completely,
eventually you had matchsticks holding up steel beams.
Yeah. And that was the end of that. Right. And so the extrication process was interesting. I don't think I was stuck as bad as I thought I was. I think I wanted to stay there to be with Gil. I don't think I could have self-extricated, but I'm not sure because I couldn't see exactly what was on top of me. And I didn't try. Like, my goal was to stay with Gil because this dude was not breathing. Right.
Yeah.
And I remember I felt like the stairwell go from flat on top of me like a sandwich to this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I can move, but I want him to come out with me. And so I grabbed onto his leg. And as they were pulling me, I was trying to pull Gil. And Gil's a big guy like me. They're not going to pull, 600 pounds of meat out of a fire with 3 or 4 guys, right? And so they're like yelling at me. They're like, dude, you got to let go. You got to let go. And I'm like, I'm not leaving without having him with me. And eventually they obviously convinced me, like, hey, we're going to get to him, but we got to get you out of here first. Like, we can't get to him. Yes. Yeah. And you're not of sound mind when all that's going on, right? You just want your brother, to come out with you. And so eventually I stand up, man. And I just remember taking my first step and my knee just basically I don't want to say exploded because that's dramatic, but it just buckled. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
And, ended up, I guess, either during the collapse or during on my way to the stairs, something happened. I tore my meniscus, my ACL, my PCL, my MCL, all in my right knee. And I started like walking down the stairs and trying to get through the rubble, trying to get around it. And eventually I just got pissed off and I was still in full gear. I was probably about 5 or 6 stairs up and I just said, screw it, man. I'm just going to jump over this and land on the ground and whatever happens, happens. And so I jump and I kind of roll to the fence and I'm like on my hands and knees crawling to the fence because I can't stand up. And I turn around, and as I turn around, I see Gil coming out. But I also see like the apartment like made this weird I don't know, like feeling that it was coming towards me. That's the kind of mental side of it that was happening, is I felt like it was collapsing into me again, still, and
Yeah.
it wasn't, I mean, besides the stairwell, the apartment complex wasn't going anywhere. And so I remember Gil got down, the medic crew was already there waiting for him. They wheeled him off, put him in a medic unit. And then one of the guys came to me and they're like, "Hey, dude, are you good?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm fine, man." I said, I'm all right." He said, "All right." He's like, "That's a nasty lick you took." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I think I'll be all right. I'm glad, Gil got out and I hope he's okay," and all that stuff. And so I went to command and I was like, "Hey, like, if you need me, I'm here." And he's like, "You're not doing anything. Like, you're done for the day.
You're
You just
going
almost
to the
died."
hospital.
Yeah. And so I was like, "No, I'm good." And I stood up and I was like hopping on my left leg. I was like hopping like an
Yeah, I'm
idiot.
good.
Yeah, right. It's just it's that trauma reaction, It's just there's no sense in your brain at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I hopped to the front of one of the pumpers on the alpha side of the structure, and I'm sitting there, and the medic unit comes up, and they're like, "Hey," they're like, we're going to take you for evaluation." Of course, like every good firefighter, "No, I'm good." They're
Good.
like, "No, command told us that you're going to the hospital." I said, "Okay." So I got my stuff off. I laid down on the stretcher, and I remember the news crews being there and whatnot. Already there was helicopters, news crews. It was a whole thing. 2 firefighters hurt, 3 firefighters hurt, and all this. So I put the sheet over my head and I'm getting wheeled, and people think I'm dead because the sheet's over me and they see it on the news, So, anyways, I get in the back of the ambulance and they're like, "What's your pain on a scale of 1 to 10?" And I was like, "A 4." And they're like, "It doesn't matter what you tell us, you're still getting hit with your the pain meds." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." So they hit me up with morphine, and I'm laying in there, and of course, as soon as it hits, right, it's like this rush, and I remember I started getting emotional because, like, finally, like, there was nobody really back there. The medic was back there, but there's no other fire people back there. Like, I had just this brief kind of run in with what death may look like, if not for me, but for my best friend. Like, that
Yeah.
was really traumatizing.
Well, you've had that moment of clarity now.
Yeah, yeah, and now you have these chemicals running through your body that are just absolutely to the extreme.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and my chief opened the door. He made the scene after the Mayday call went out, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Who do I need to notify? Who do I need to let know from your family?" And at that time, my mom was living on the streets. She was homeless. She's not anymore. She has an awesome recovery story, but at that time, she was homeless. And then my dad was all the way up in Oregon. I didn't have a wife. I had an ex-wife who wasn't available, obviously, and we weren't on the best of terms at that time. So I wouldn't have called her. So it was like I just told him, I was like, "Nobody." I was like, "Don't call anybody. I'm fine," And then he shut the door, and it hit me again. And I was like, "Damn, like, I'm alone, man. Like, I'm isolated. Like, I'm in this by myself right now. I don't have my mom. I don't have my dad. I don't have a wife. I don't have anybody.
I don't
My
even have
kid,
anybody to call.
yeah, kids are too young to understand. Like, where have I failed in life to not have anybody to help me through this right now?" And so, I'm sure the morphine played a little bit of part in it, but I'm all in my
A little
feels.
bit.
And I'm all in my feels and shit, and I'm embarrassed and whatnot. And then they come back and they're like, "Hey, we got to move you into the other medic unit because this medic unit's blocked in by 5-inch." And I'm like, "You got to be shitting me." So they pulled me out again, and there's all these people there from the apartment complex, news and helicopters and all this stuff all over again. Now I'm emotional, right? And so they wheel me in the back with my buddy. My buddy's on the bench. He's sitting there, and the first thing he says to me is "Jay, we can't let anybody know about this." Those were his first words to me. And what he was saying is he didn't want anybody to know that we got caught in a collapse, and that we were better than that to get caught like that. And his family history comes from the fire service too. He has two brothers and his dad that are all in the fire service. And so he was embarrassed by what had just happened, and that we had to call the Mayday, and that we couldn't self-extricate. That was the other part too. We had to rely on other people. So it was a pride thing for sure, man. Like I felt it too. It wasn't, I'm just not knocking him.
So you're saying pride in the fire service?
Yeah. Right. What
like
a novel
kept us from trying to like get the message out there.
Yeah. What a novel concept.
Wow. I can't imagine that happening.
Yeah. So,
especially in the Lone Star State, I gotta say.
Yeah. Go to San Antonio. It's even worse, man. It's even worse. I love San Antonio. Those guys are awesome out there. Shout out to Jesse. But no, we were in the back of the ambulance, and I just remember having this feeling like, no, like people need to know about this, man. Like I can't let other people go through this when we know like what happened, or we're going to know what happened and why this happened. Cause we did everything textbook. Everything we did was correct. Yeah. And we still got caught. You know what I mean? Thank God we were wearing our gear correctly. Thank God we were clicked in. I don't know, I mean, sometimes outside of a stairwell, click in until you pass the door, pass the threshold. And we were, for whatever reason, we were. And so we wore our gear correctly. We did everything right, and we still got caught. Yeah. And so, me and Gil joked a little bit, kind of some tongue-in-cheek stuff. And he was a little emotional. I was emotional on the way to the hospital. We pulled into the hospital. The hospital was so close that smoke from that fire was actually in the parking lot of the hospital. Oh, okay. And yeah. And so, obviously the nurses already knew what was going on. They had, seen the news and all that stuff. And so when we got wheeled back, everything was very quick. I had a second morphine pushed into me in the second medic unit. And then I had another pain medicine when I got to the hospital. So I was like smelling colors, brother. Ooh, yeah. I was smelling
Snozzberries were tasting like snozzberries.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember I was sitting in the hospital room, and I had the Harris County Sheriff's Office. I had Firefighter Fire Department, Cy Creek Fire Department, and the Harris County Fire Marshals. And I said the Sheriff's Office already, but everyone sent in their investigators to start talking to me, to start piecing together information about what happened. And eventually I got to like the second or third person, and I'm like, I don't even know what planet I'm on right now. Like, let alone giving you an accurate statement is not going to happen. Like, I don't want to talk to you, and I remember saying that.
Now is not the time.
Yeah. And so my assistant chief's wife showed up, and she sat in the room with me, and she's a mess. She's crying, and now I'm crying. Everyone's bawling, and they're sending people in, and I'm telling people I don't want to talk to them. So then the doctor comes in and runs a couple tests, and it's like, hey, we think that you tore, all these ligaments in your leg. You're going to have a sore back. Your head's going to be sore. We did the MRI, all that crap. We did x-rays and all that. And so I was like, okay. Meanwhile, Gil, my buddy next door, comes from a Hispanic family, and his room was packed, bro. It was like a party over there almost, bro. It was nuts, man. It was nuts. And they brought him Jack in the Box and all kinds. I have a picture. Eventually, he got wheeled into my room right before I left. And I have a picture of him handing me a bag of fries, asking me if I want any, and I'm like, no, I don't want any fries right now.
As under the influence as you were.
Yeah, I didn't.
Hell yeah, I'll take some fries.
I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything to do with anybody. Nothing of that sort. So eventually, they got a hold of my stepdad, who my mom was no longer married to at that time. He came down and got me and took me home. I will say this though, man, like as soon as people got the word of who it was, and that doesn't mean that I'm important, but as soon as people were able to figure out who was involved, I had so many brothers up there, man. It was nuts. It was nuts. I had brothers from different departments. I had, people that I didn't even know, people that I've never seen before, people that I haven't seen in forever. By the time I left that hospital, I had so many people who were showing me love. And that was a far cry from where I was when I sat in the back of that ambulance, and I was like, nobody cares. Nobody, I don't want anybody to know about this. And so that was, to me, vindicating for sure, man. So yeah, that was the collapse. That was a tough time, brother.
Yeah. All right. So now, obviously, having gone through that, you had a long road ahead of you.
Yeah.
Like you said, you came to that realization in the back of that ambulance that, you had no support system except for those brothers and sisters. And, anybody who's gone through it knows that it dwindles off after a little bit. Well,
yeah,
that type of injury to your knee, that's not a 2 weeks off and I'm going back to work.
Yeah. Yeah. That time off from work, it shed some light on, many issues in my life. It exacerbated a lot of poor choices that I had made, surprisingly enough. It wasn't like, oh, I got time off of work and I got to reflect and work on myself, right? Like, no, it was, I got time off of work and I got to make excuses for why I could take pain pills, abuse pills, stay drunk, feel sorry for myself, draw attention to myself for the wrong reasons. Those were the things that I really took a foothold in, was to live that life. And what I had slowly kind of realized was, I had the fire service essentially keeping me sober for 2 days, or when I was ever working my part-time job. But you know what I mean? Like we're 48 hours on, 96 hours off. So I would be sober for 2 days because I'd be at work, but then those 4 days off, I would be party mode, man. Like even the day before I came to shift, our shift changes were at 6 a.m. And that didn't mean to stop drinking. That didn't mean to stop partying. That meant, hey, tell your rookie to wake you up in the parking lot before shift starts, because you might be too drunk to wake yourself up. And I would. And that's, no shit, man. That's what that time off bred, and you're right. Eventually, the outpouring was great for the first month or two. And then after that, man, like people just go away. And I get it. I've been one of those people that kind of fade and go away, but we went through that as both departments, Cypress Creek and Pearland, and wasn't a good time. Wasn't a favorable time for myself or my kids. And, it sucks that I missed out on those years, by not doing the right thing and acting appropriate.
All right. Well, but through that came, that's how you found your freedom.
Yeah, that is, man.
Freedom found.
Had to get through the crap to get to the point where I felt comfortable enough to, share the message. And that's one thing that, I'd tell anybody, man, is like, your message is worthy of sharing, based on your comfortability of sharing it, not based on the perception of if you're ready or not. Right. And so like, I spent so long justifying why I shouldn't share my message because I was still in the addiction. Right. And I wish that I would have started smaller and started being with other addicts and speaking with other addicts at some kind of public speaking level, whether that's AA or whatever, as a launching point, because I wasted a lot of time waiting to get out of the weeds far enough to where I felt vindicated enough to share the message to help other people. And, and so that's one thing that I would say, is share your story to the level that you're comfortable sharing it. And be careful of who you're sharing it with too, right? Like make sure your closet's clean, right? Before you go out and you just start dumping all this stuff on people, because you can take casualties along the way, right? Like friendly fire.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people come up to me and say, man, your story, is inspiring. And, your story really helped me, or, I've been there. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I want to tell that to my wife, and I want to share with her these exploits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, is she ready for that? Like, is she ready to hear that? Because that's,
Yeah.
like, we need to make sure that our spouses and loved ones are in our audience, whoever it is, we need to make sure that they're ready to hear those type of messages, man. That's one of the things that I always say. I've said some things publicly that my wife's kind of pulled me aside and been like, really?
Maybe you shouldn't have said that.
Like, that's part of my story too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we've gotten through all that, man. Like, we've had discussions about it, and now she's better than ever about kind of powering through those things, man. And she sits in on a lot of my sessions. If she can make them, she'll be there. And it's really cool, man. But that's what led to Ironclad was, my whole venture into mental health. When I took the district chief job, I left Pearland in 2016 is when I left Pearland.
I was gonna get to that, and what brought you to make that decision to go to Harris County?
So I was supposed to take a captain's position. I ended up testing for the district chief position, and they're like, "Hey, we like you in the district chief role. We don't necessarily want you in the captain role." And I at that point, I had a good amount of time on the truck between my volunteer service time, my part-time jobs, and my full-time gig, and wasn't really ready to get off the truck yet. But I also had 3 small children. I was a divorced dad, and I had child support, and I had kids to worry about. Kicking down doors and saving babies is great, but I already had one close call, and I couldn't imagine not being here for the kids. And so it's like, hey, kind of want a little slow down, and I want to change the pace for a little bit. And I think after all, when I got done talking to my dad, it was more like I could make a greater impact on the fire service by taking this position, and I could take what I've learned and influence some young officers, because I was still a young officer at that time, So I took the district chief job at 31 years old, and it was really cool, man. It was really vindicating. I got to start a lot of projects. I got to do a lot of, high level things at a very young age, learn a lot of hard lessons on how to lead people from that kind of, chief echelon, if you will. But one of the most important things that we did is we launched our mental wellness program. And that was just absolutely eye-opening to me. And it was against every fiber in my body that I wanted to do. And we launched the program, man. And I started researching what mental health looked like for the fire service in 2016. And it was nothing like it is now. 10 years ago, that phrase didn't even really exist.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Fletcher and I, we moved forward, man. We moved forward to make this program. She was a former volunteer. She now is one of our ESD commissioners. Okay. She worked in the trauma and resiliency department for University of Houston. And so she had a little bit of a knack for that.
Okay.
And doing that research, man, and talking about, mental health for first responders and, what it looked like, I was reading about myself and my own discrepancies and my own faults and failures. And why those things were happening, why I was continuing to go down the same paths over and over and over again, despite knowing that those weren't healthy, right?
Weren't the right things to do.
Yeah. And so a lot of it was about providing help. A lot of it was about, making sure that people had the resources to not end up in spaces where I had been. And so we ended up launching this wellness program in 2017. Very successful, highly successful. It still is in place to this day. And I just remember thinking like, man, like if I could build on this and put this in other departments, what would that look like if I could, give another department a lunchbox of tools to use? And so we started, doing that, but we started doing that by public speaking about it. And I realized very quickly that being relational and transparent and telling my own story about my own struggles and where I've been in my career, and despite all of that, I can still have a successful career, to not, get down on yourself as a firefighter, get down on yourself as an officer because you had a lapse, or you had a time period where you were involved in, addiction or what have you, that those things don't define you later on if you have the proper resources in place, right? You can fix those things. So I started speaking about it, and then in, 2024 or late 2023, I started doing some consulting and working some programs for organizations in the area, and that's where Ironclad Wellness came up. It was through those. I had a buddy call me who's a fire chief, and he said, "Hey, our guys aren't using the counselor that we provide for them, and it's a 1-800 number. Could you do anything better for us?" And I was like, "I'm not a counselor, but I can try. I can try to get you a program that people use." And he said, "Yeah, that'd be great." He goes, "Just send me a quote." And that was like, I don't know how the hell to do any of that. I don't know the first thing about business, but yeah, I'll get on it, right? And so that's kind of been a labor of love the last couple of years, man. We've grown to, I think we have 9 organizations within our county, all surrounding the Houston area. We've launched peer support teams. We've done our 8-hour peer support team course for those organizations. We provide documentation. We do basically a one-stop shop for their mental health program. We subcontract our clinicians out. So, and the coolest thing is we really stress on the organizations to make it available for spouses too, because they put up with so much. Spouses and the kids. We want to make sure that the families are taken care of, that the houses that these guys are going back to outside of the firehouses
aren't part of the problem.
Are as peaceful, and that's what we found out, right? Like, we've found out most of the time it's not the dead 2-year-old in your hand. It's stressors at the house. It's finances and relationship and communication and burnout and all this stuff that happens at the house. And so people are like, "Well, why aren't we getting better?" Well, because we're not addressing the issues at home. We're addressing this false PTSD that people think we're supposed to have, and then you get this tab put on you, and then you're like, "Oh hell, I have PTSD. What the hell is that?" Right? And really, it's just burnout, and your home life is shit. Like, that's what it comes down to. And I'm not saying that nobody has PTSD.
No, I agree 100%.
But
I get what you're saying.
It's just kind of like this easy way out for clinicians, to just be like, "Oh, it sounds like you have PTSD. Like, let's get you on some meds and get you into counselor."
Meds and yeah.
And so, there's a lot that goes into it, man. So much so that I've recently become a student again. I'm getting my master's degree to be a marriage and family therapist. So I want to help first responders and their family members get through some rough times based on obviously my experience, but more so, clinically at a clinical level, not just a relational level.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Because that really, and there's so many factors that go into firefighter and first responder mental health and true wellness, right?
Yeah.
And a part of that is, you take your injury. You were home for probably 6 months?
8.
With surgery and PTSD. Now, you said yourself, you were divorced, you had the kids every other weekend or something like that you were trying to juggle. And, other than that, you were sitting there by yourself. Now, if you were married, had 3 kids, your wife's working, she wants you to get up and start moving around. She wants you. She needs you to be here and be helping, and so the different environments that even that there's no. You and I could have the exact same injury.
Yeah.
You and I are going to home to 2 totally different homes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And
so your environment and your mindset is totally different than what I'm getting.
Yeah. And our isolation is a It's a hell of a drug. Isolation is
Absolutely.
insane right now with the fire service, man. I can walk into a firehouse, probably the majority of them at some point during the day, and I have to look and see if the truck is there, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody's hanging out at the table talking, mess and discussing things. Most people are in their rooms on their phones or what have you, and so that brings me to the company officers, like we got to do better as company officers and get our people engaged.
Well, but the company officer's got a tasker from the district chief. He's got a project that he's working on for he's got purchase requests that he's got to fill out. He's got inventories, and where does it come back to?
Yeah. No, I know.
It comes back to that sergeant, that senior guy, that engineer, whatever it is, taking that, getting off his ass or her ass, and watching out for the guys and the girls in the firehouse, and making sure that things are getting done, and that you're looking after each other, and you have that bad call, and your eyes are getting that much bigger on each other, right? Mm-hmm. You should be, at least.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just one of those things, man. Like like you said, I mean, it's from the top down. I mean, you got to take care of each other. No excuses, and I listen to a lot of stuff, right? A lot of motivation stuff, a lot of leadership stuff still to this day. And, that extreme ownership just still gets me. I mean, I preach it. I live by it. I die by it. Where does the buck stop eventually, as far as extreme ownership goes? That's a little blurry. It's a little blurry to me, but definitely in the firehouse, our firehouses have to operate like independent, well-oiled machines.
Yep.
And, the personnel within those fire stations are 100% responsible
absolutely
for making those things operate the way they should. And, being whoever's in their room doing all kinds of, whatever with their phone, or drawing into isolation because they made a bad call and they don't want to talk about it and they think mental health is stupid and all this stuff. That's great, man. You got to appeal to those people too, though, right? You don't have to make them sit down and hold hands and sing, campfire songs, but we need to appeal to those people too and figure out, how we can communicate with those individuals also. But I just know for a fact that isolation doesn't help anything in any situation.
Not at all.
We are 100% meant for relationship, especially in the fire service. That's why you join the fire service. We wonder why 100%. Law enforcement rates of suicide are higher than firefighters. Well, think about what happens with them. They go, they make a scene. Sometimes they're dealing out the punishment on scene. Sometimes they're using their service weapon. Sometimes they have to take a life or hurt somebody. And they see these things or they see these traumas, and then they go sit in a car and they're by themselves, right?
Yep.
And like, no wonder why their rates are higher than ours, because they don't have anybody else that they're going through this crap with.
Yep.
Right. So that's another bullet point about isolation. Another thing that we've been looking at recently is the fire station designs, man, and what that looks like. Are we building caves that the firefighters want, that are dark and cold and don't have windows and they can just hibernate for their, right? It feels good.
Sounds like a good night's sleep right there.
Yeah. Which is good, right? Like I get the sleep study side of it too. Not that you were bringing that point up, but I get that. And that's important for sure. But for me, man, like natural sunlight, building communal spaces, making sure that there's access to windows inside fire stations. If they want them, cool. If you don't, shut them. Like who cares? But at least they're there, we can't fully count on firefighters to give us the right information about what they want about a fire station, because it's going to end up like a damn bear cave. You know what I mean?
It's going to be like the Homer Simpson car that he designs for himself.
Yeah. Right.
It's got the bubble. It's got the cup holder for the big gulp.
Yep. Yeah. Right. And so, we have to consider that. And that's something that's being talked about right now at all these, all these conferences that are talking about emergency services building conference and this, that, and the other. Is like, we have to limit the isolating spaces because firefighters will find them, and we'll use them. Now, I'm not saying privacy, shouldn't be considered and good sleep shouldn't be considered. I just think that there's a good medium to it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we practice mediums in the fire service. I think pendulums swing one way and then they swing the other way. That's what I think.
Well, and that also comes back to culture, right?
Sure.
And even policies.
Sure.
Like, I worked in a firehouse where we had like 16 bedrooms upstairs, and you could hide up there for days in your cave. But like our internal unwritten rule was you didn't go up there till lunchtime. You could go up there. You want to take a wellness rest period in your bunk room. That was cool, but you were back downstairs by 1300, and you weren't back up there until what was it? It was like 2:30 or 3 o'clock was gym time. If you didn't want to go to the gym and you wanted to go exercise a different type of pillow time, that was your option. But between those hours, you didn't. But like, we had a culture of our own that after dinner, these guys went out back and had a cigar. After dinner, these guys went out in the bay and chit-chatted. These guys sat in the kitchen and had popcorn.
Yeah.
Some guys sat in the captain's office with that. But like, yeah, every once in a while, a couple of guys would go upstairs and play video games together or whatever, or sit in the theater upstairs and watch TV. But like, we had that culture of, this is what we do. We're out in the open until you're ready to go to bed. Like,
yeah. And you got to breed that culture. And like you said, and like I said before, it starts at the firehouse level. It starts at
100%.
You learned how to be a good, firehouse sergeant from somebody, and that somebody learned it from somebody. Right. Yep. And so along the way, the players in the game, for us, it's, you have company officer, you have your engineer operator, you have your senior firefighter, and you usually have a rookie underneath you. And that's just the way we roll, and I grew up in the fire service, in Pearland, where I had crews where, nobody wanted to do any of that cool stuff after dinner. And then I had crews where it was like, we were inseparable.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for a fact that my mental health was better when I was working for the crews that were inseparable than the crews that sent me into isolation.
Even if it's slower house.
Absolutely.
You have that bonding, like you have that, and I get it. You're not going to get along. Everybody is not going to get along every single day.
Sure.
Especially the bigger the house is, who's coming in, who just had an argument with their significant other, whose kid went off to college, and now they're having that empty nester syndrome. Everybody's got different factors. Who got into a car accident on the way to work or got a ticket, whatever. Like, not everybody is going to have a great day every single day they come to work, even if they have a great environment. But the better the environment of taking care of our own and knowing each other is, all right, hey, you know what? This guy's fallen, or this girl's fallen into a rut where, he or she used to come out after dinner and watch a movie with us every night. Or now all of a sudden, 6 o'clock, dinner's over, they're going right to their bedroom. Like, something's up here.
Yeah, for sure. It's a balance.
Something's up.
Yeah, no, it's a balance for sure. And, isolation is never the answer. And unfortunately, isolation can breed, complacency and all kinds of other nasty things that we can't dabble in. And so, that's my job. That's my take. I want to see people. I want to be in relationship with people. Partly the reason that I've taken on kind of the leadership wellness now and kind of not transferred, but spent some time in that arena, is because of the level of isolation and loneliness that can consume you at the top is palpable. It's, I would say it's unreal, but it's very real. Right. As you promote physically, like as you promote, like you're in the office, you're in these four walls and it's you, there ain't nobody else around. Like, I was driving the other day. I can't remember. I recently promoted to assistant chief from division chief.
Oh
And,
shit!
and I remember
update the bio on you.
You're good, man. You're good. And I remember thinking, man, I want to call this person right now. And I want to, talk crap about this, recent incident that happened and, brainstorm ideas and think about what to do and all this stuff. And I can't, like that's not my position anymore. Like I'm the guy that they report that to, right? Like, so it's just different, man. It's so different, but and I don't say that to make people feel sorry by any means. When you take those promotions and you take those leadership positions, you know what you're getting into. You know that it's going to be a little bit more isolating and by yourself, and what's the word I'm looking for? Autonomous and whatnot. But I have a great team. Oh my gosh, my chiefs are amazing. My organization is amazing. I'm so lucky to have those folks, but it does get kind of strange at times when you're really just kind of out there on your own, and that decision that you make, you're the second stop before it gets to the fire chief. That decision that you make has an effect on 150 people,
Yeah. That's that level of, things can't always get to me. Guys can't always talk to me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep. So I want to make that available to our folks, and I think they feel that way, and I hope that they do, that they can, tell me. One of the first things that I did when I got into office, I just wrapped it up last week, was actually go around to all the members of our organization and sit down with them one-on-one and just ask them, hey, what are we doing well? What if there was one thing in this organization that you would never want to change, what would it be? And what do we do wrong? What could we change? What would make your day better? At this fire department, and getting the responses back that I got from our folks was really cool, because I could tell that they were genuine in their responses, and that felt good, man.
Well, see, that's. I've only had a couple leaders in my career go through that and go through that routine of asking, and because it's a sticky wicket, right? It's one of those dangerous, because one, I want to know, I want to help, but am I going to be able to?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I'm not able to, how's that going to be received? How do I translate that and articulate that to the members that just bared themselves to me and told me what needs to change around this place? And now I got to look them in the eye and tell them, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, as a leader, though, you get paid a lot of good money to figure out ways to fix those problems and address those challenges. And I always tell people, in the leadership roles, like that's your job. You get paid a lot of good money to have really hard conversations and really top level challenges. And if you're not experiencing those top level challenges, you need to change something, right? Because you're not challenging
100%.
yourself. You're not challenging your organization.
100%.
So for those folks that, may not come forward, and maybe they're just like, I don't even want to hear what these guys want. To me, that's laziness, because they know that when they hear those things, there's going to have to be action, because now you have 130 people or 140 people, however many we have, that are going to be looking to you to take action on some of those things, right?
Yeah.
And so
100%.
In our department, up until this point, we've never had shift meetings. We've never had a meeting where the chiefs have stood in front of an entire shift and said, hey, look, we hear you, we see you, and this is what we're going to do about these things. These things we can't do right now, but it's never a no. It's just a not right now, right? But these things we're going to do right now, and here's how you guys can help us. And what that does is that draws them into being able to take some ownership of what they have already told us, right? Because through this, there's a report generated, and you can see the trends and be like, okay, cool. Like enough people have said that this is something that they really want. So let's empower them to help us get what they want and have some ownership in this department. And that was my main goal, was to make sure that, yeah, the low hanging fruit stuff is great, right? You want to change the patch? Cool. Change the patch. Let's do it. You want to freaking, be able to go to the grocery store at these certain hours? Cool. Let's do it. You want to be able to go out of district for training? Okay, well, let's set some parameters, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because we still need to have somebody in the district.
Absolutely. And so, like, all these things that are happening now that are spun up, man, they're all going to be from the people. And, I would empower every leader to sit down with your folks. I don't care if you're, Boston Fire Department. Sit down with your people, go to your stations, figure out what they want, talk to them, like, what are you afraid of, that you can't do something that they want? Well, guess what? You couldn't do something that they want, whether they said it to you or not, right? It's not going to change the fact that you can or can't do it. The only thing that's going to change is that you know about it, right? And maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know the reason why. Maybe you can provide that. Like, hey, the reason why we can't do that is because legally XYZ, or maybe budgetary wise XYZ. But next year we can definitely consider it for sure. And then as a leader, go ahead.
Or, hey, we can't do that because financially I keep having to put money into fixing the fire trucks you guys keep wrecking by running red lights.
Right.
Or fixing the firehouses that you keep backing into. Or, if you guys stop making these stupid mistakes, simple mistakes that are costly.
But how do they know that, right?
Exactly. You still have to articulate that.
Yeah. Yeah. How do they know? They don't, and that's the thing, is like, we have some very few people in our organization that are like, hey, y'all spend a lot of money on logistics and admin and our mechanic and, all this other stuff. Like, when are you going to start spending money on operations? And I'm like, 99% of our budget goes to operations. What are you talking about?
All those investments are for a mechanic. I wish my department had our own mechanic.
Right. Yeah. And we have top of the line equipment. I mean, we pay our people very well. And so
tell us a little bit about your department.
Yeah.
About what is it? Harris County
ESD 13. So we are an emergency services district, which is basically a county department for most people, to break it down.
Okay.
We're funded by the taxpayers, right? Just like everyone else. But we have a DBA, doing business as Cypress Creek Fire Department. So you'll see both interchangeably. So, Cypress Creek Fire Department started in 1976. We ran out of houses for a little bit, then a mechanic shop and all kinds of stuff. Grew to an area of about 33 square miles, densely packed. I mean, industrial, commercial, residential apartments.
Now that's off the
northwest
side of Houston, right?
Yep. Yeah. Northwest side of Houston. We butt up to Houston and butt up to quite a few other ESDs in the area as well, that we mutual aid with, partner with very well. We all kind of, run together, as you could say. And so, I mean, we have 5 stations. We just opened our 5th station a couple of years ago, down by the horse track. We have a racetrack down there. Which made a really cool patch for that station. So I was excited about that. And everyone else doesn't like it, but I like it. So we opened up that station. That's been really cool. It's given us a little bit of a slowdown spot for some of our older folks that may be on the backside of their career. They still do the job and still do it very well, but they're not up and down running multiple calls a night. So it's been a welcomed addition. To some of the senior members for sure.
Does that have something to do with the horse?
No, nothing to do with the horses.
Like going out to pasture or going out to
no correlation. That is hilarious.
Right now, stud.
Yeah, no, that's funny. But yeah, no, we're a great organization, man. We work well together. Most of the command staff's been together for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. So we know how each other operate. We know how each other work.
Okay.
We have a very robust budget, and we're blessed by that. We're set up with a fire chief, assistant chief, which is where I'm at right now. And
Okay.
then, below that is division chief of training and division chief of logistics. And then they run their operations. And then I take over operations at the division level with the district chiefs. And then it just goes down from there.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, it's a great department, man. I have nothing, I wouldn't say anything bad anyways, because this is, on public domain, but even
I was going to say, sell it.
Even if it wasn't, no.
Are you guys hiring soon?
No, it's a great organization. We actually do small batch hiring, which is interesting. We don't really promote. We don't go to job fairs. We don't do any of that because we're a landlocked department. So we're not building stations. We're not opening up any more shifts or anything like that. Like we're we're set, man. So when someone promotes or when we need one spot because maybe we're growing as far as, we're transitioning from a part-time seat to a full-time seat, we'll put out for one firefighter. And so we might have 15 people come and test for one position, and that'd be a good day for us, right? We're not hiring by the groves where, some of these departments are hiring 70 firefighters.
Yeah.
At once, 300 show up for the test. That's not us. That's not how we operate.
Okay.
But
do you have a maximum hiring age?
No, currently we do not. We do not. Yeah. So I don't think a lot of the ESDs around here don't have maximum hiring age.
New Jersey, actually the whole Northeast, it's a big thing is like because the states want to make sure that you have your 20 years in the pension before you start collecting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like the New Jersey pension system, you can't get into it after 35.
Okay.
There's some back end, if you were a volunteer in that department and you had X amount of years of service, but they want to make sure you have at least 20 years before you hit maximum force out age.
Okay. Yeah.
So they want to make sure by the time you're 65, you've paid into the pension for 20 years.
That has a lot to do with some of the municipal departments around us. The Houston and Austin and San Antonio and those areas. They have minimum age requirements for sure.
Okay. All right. So what got you into Taffy? That's how we met. The Texas Association of Fire Educators.
Yeah, man. So Taffy fell on hard times during COVID, and they're like, "Hey, we need some budget friendly speakers," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll come do it." There it is. Yes, sir. Those are our awards. Those are our Taffy. I don't know what we're gonna have this year. I'm excited to see.
I started a little tradition of my own.
That's cool.
Making a Taylor's Tins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Custom tin for every conference that I teach at.
That's amazing. I love that, man. Now I'm jealous. I'm gonna have to start making them. My wife's gonna get pissed. My wife's gonna be pissed. She calls them knickknacks, and
I only have 2 of them right now. So
for now, you gotta start somewhere, bro.
So
so they invited me to come speak, and it was a really cool experience. Kind of gave me my launch pad in a way. I'd already been talking operationally about the collapse and whatnot, and that was good, and that was healing and empowering.
Okay.
But they wanted me to talk about the mental health side of it, which I thought was really cool. So I got to bring that to the table. I had known some of the guys that had been, in the upper leadership of Taffy for a little bit. And so, they had heard that I had been speaking a little bit here and there, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to come, come share your program with us." And I said, "Yeah, that's fine." So I was already going anyways, and they needed, budget friendly speakers. So here I was at a good price. And it got to the point where I got asked to be on the speaker selection committee in what was it? 3 years ago. And so I did that for a year, and then they had some turnover, and some of the terms of some of the officers on the board had started expiring. And we had one guy who was going to step down from his position. We had another guy who basically got told, you should probably step down as well, just because of productivity level.
Yeah.
And so that opened up 2 spots, man. And they came to me and they said, hey, we like what you do. You've been, a faithful attendant to this conference for many years. You've contributed in a lot of ways, and we want you to basically come on the board and start maximizing what your attributes are. And I said, yeah, so let's do it. So that's how I got on the Taffy board. I've been on there for, I think this will be my second year coming up. So my first year was coordinating with you and the other speakers that we brought out last year, man. It was really cool. Taffy is Texas Association of Fire Educators. For those that do not know, it's every February, and it is down in Corpus Christi, Texas. Pretty cool spot. It is the off season, so it can be slow down there sometimes. There's not a whole lot of stuff to do.
It was beautiful, though.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Down in the little cafe on the first floor, the Texas shaved waffles, sunrise. It was
there you go. Sell it for us, brother.
Oh yeah, and then right down the street was not What's Up Burger. Whataburger.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a Texas staple.
First time I ever saw it, man.
Yeah. How was it? Did you eat?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Come on, I don't get a gut like this, but I'm not eating Whataburger.
Right. No, it's a cool spot down there, man. We do a lot of good work. It's not just for Texas, fire educators. We welcome everybody from all walks of life to come in. It is obviously in the state of Texas, and we appreciate our Texas fire educators a lot, but we like people from around the country to come in, share their message, and give their insight and just some aspects that we may not get, all the way down here from all other parts of the country, for sure.
And it's a great conference. A lot of good speakers, as you said.
Yeah,
it's a lot of good networking opportunity out there. Another Chief DeSessa. I've been talking to him. I just got through his book before yours came in the mail, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show coming in soon.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of DoD installations down there, so I got to meet a lot of guys that are going through a lot of different, a lot of the same challenges as we do in my department. So it's a great opportunity. I think all the organizations in the fire service have just magnificent, I'm a member of the ISFSI, amazing opportunities for networking and getting outside of your little bubble, which again, so important. See the different ways people are doing things, especially, with the climate of mental health awareness and wellness. What's your department doing? How's it working? We're thinking about doing this or that, or we saw your department's doing this. How's that working out for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we don't get to have those conversations very often, man. And that's kind of the thing now is, I've been in the conference world for a long time. Maybe not in a position on a board or a leadership role, but man, I've been going to conferences forever. My department, like I said, beyond blessed with a robust budget to be able to send, young officers like myself out to these things. And yeah, of course, it can be treated as somewhat of a vacation. But if you're not taking away some stuff from it, you're doing not only the taxpayers a disservice and your department, but you're doing yourself a major disservice, man. I've met some really cool people. I've had some really cool dialogue with some presenters over the years. Dr. David Griffin, I got to see him in one of his very first, public appearances way back in the day when he was talking about his struggles with alcohol and drugs and, PTSD and all that stuff. And none of that applied to me at the time I saw him speak. But then, 6-7 years after I hear him speak, everything applied to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm living this guy's life
Yeah.
right now. Like, how did he come out of it? Okay, this is what he said. This is what he did. I need to start gearing myself up towards this. And
Yeah.
so it's like, I tell people all the time, like, something at a conference might not apply to you or might not hit you at that second, but down the line, man, like there may be something that comes up where it's like, hey, like I remember this guy said this, who was that speaker this year, or who did I talk to from this department? And so, having those interactions and being able to interface with those, folks. I mean, we have it's not a conference, but we have a Chiefs meeting every month. It's called the Northwest Area Chiefs Meeting. And it's this, conglomerate of, probably 30 chief officers and leaders from around the area. And we all get together, man, and we brainstorm things and we talk about things and we, pick each other's brains, and we try not to reinvent the wheel if someone else has something going on. And that, to me, that like a conference is that maximized, right? Like we have a House bill right now that's coming down from the state that is piggybacking off of law enforcement, but they're trying to include for like all first responders in this thing, like firefighters, EMS, dispatch, all that. But it basically says like, hey, if you're having a hard day, like mentally, you can go home. Well, okay, that's great, but is that FMLA? Is that vacation? Is that sick time? Is that no time?
Now, what happens when I'm the chief on duty and I'm trying to fill that vacancy and nobody's picking up their phone?
Right. And so what happens?
I can't tell him he can't go home.
Right. And what happens when there's 3 people that call off like that for one shift? That's huge. And so as sensitive as I am to the fact that, that's a good initiative, amazing, but that's terrible execution, right? Like, let's think about this and engage the fire service a little bit more. And I mean, that probably wouldn't even work well for law enforcement either. Yeah. But it's things like that. Like, and I just use that as an example. There's many more, but where it's like, okay, we need to talk about this as a leadership group and influence our leaders to say this up in Austin, like, hey, this can't happen as it is. We need parameters. We need direction. We need you to consider, our common voice. But when you go to those conferences and stuff like that, those are the things that you hear about. And what's really sad is you can get upset about the people that don't go to the conferences. But who do you get upset at? You get upset at the people that are there because you're like, oh, I wish, so-and-so was here. Or how can we get so-and-so to come to the conference? And usually the ones that are in the conferences aren't the ones that need to be there, right?
Exactly.
Like, that is the craziest, weirdest thing to me. Is like the ones that go to the conferences are the ones that usually get it.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. 100%.
And I'm just like, how do we stop this? How do we stop this, merry-go-round? Yeah. This madness.
Stop the madness.
And it's like, well, do we force people to go to conferences? Well, no, because then they won't.
Because what are they taking away? And they sit there and be miserable.
And then we're wasting money. Right. And
yeah.
So, damn, like, what do we do? So I don't know, man. I get frustrated over that. And the sheer amount of conferences I think is getting a little crazy too, because we're starting to see a decline in attendees.
Well, you know what it is? I didn't get to speak at your conference, so I'm going to start my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
I didn't take it. I didn't want to put myself out there, so I started my own conference.
Yeah. That's right. And that's how it works, man. Is like, it can't be too hard to start a conference, and you'll find out. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal, man. I've had a couple people, say, hey, yeah, we're going to have a conference, this date. So, make sure you don't schedule your conference these days. And I'm like, brother,
good luck with that.
I have a whole army behind me that's scheduling this conference right now, and you have nobody. So yeah. Wow.
So, all right. So we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, man.
What, you have your book out again, Freedom Found, mental health memoir.
Yeah.
Where can we find that?
Yeah, that's on Amazon, all Amazon platforms. I'm working on my Audible release as well. So if you're one of those folks that likes to listen to a book while you're in the car or whatever, you can listen to my soothing voice as you're driving into work. that was a whole experience.
It's
Reading out.
better than AI.
Yeah, that is
reading.
true. That is true. I think it's true. I don't know. I mean, I was, I haven't read out loud from a book since probably fourth grade. So that was a learning experience all over again, brother. But yeah, it's on Amazon. It's very near and dear to my heart. There's a lot of transparency in that book. There's a lot of hurt and pain that people may feel or pick up on. But I want people to know that the relational value that comes from that.
So you actually read your book to make the audio?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
man.
See, now I like that even more.
Yeah.
Because you have, the emphasis that you want to put on this.
Yeah, and
the feeling that you want to show behind this.
And that was kind of the purpose.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I love it.
I got to sit down with is it okay if I plug?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had to sit down with Robert Harrington from Bella Media. He does a side project called Fire Break Solutions. He does, the podcast thing and all that good stuff. His dad, I don't think he would mind me sharing this because he talks about it publicly as well, but his dad was a first responder as well, worked HFD for a while, HPD. His dad ended up actually taking his own life. And so Robert has this innate passion to just help first responders any way that he can. And so he gives them the platform, man. And so Robert sat down with me and did a Fire Break Solutions series, which was absolutely amazing. Probably one of my, one of my favorite conversations that I've had to this day. But then also he offered to do my book recording free of charge because he believed in the project that I was involved in. And that was really cool. So I got to wake up at 5:30 in the morning every morning for a couple of days and go up there and read my book out to him, which was crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Crazy cool. But the memoir is something that comes from the heart. It is as organic and raw as you could probably get. I've had a lot of people text me and tell me that they were crying in the first chapter, and I feel bad because I'm like, that's not what I want you to take from it. But at the same time, if that's where your heart is telling you to go, then I want you to live in that. I want you to feel that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's important to me. So
it's definitely an emotional ride.
It gets better though. It does as you go on.
Yeah.
It's not all doom and gloom and bad days and stuff like that, man.
Well, I've heard the stories from you, so
yeah.
Some of them, not all of them.
There's some cool stuff in there too, and hopefully some nuggets that people can pick up. And I know we're at the 2-hour mark, but moving forward, I don't know. I'm thinking about knocking out a children's book about first responder divorce. And something along those lines. I don't know what that project looks like, but that's probably next on my agenda with all my spare time that I have going on now. Figure something out. But writing books is like getting tattoos. You don't know why the hell you're doing it while you're doing it, and then you're done, and then
all of a sudden you want another one and another one.
Yeah, it's like kids. Yeah, I can say that too.
No, I do not want more kids.
No.
But
yeah, man. No, I appreciate you having me on, brother. It's so good to catch up, and the work you're doing is amazing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the work you're doing is amazing.
I'm
just taking other people's great messages and putting them out there.
Dude, we need it, man. We need you. We need dudes like you that lift us up and let us know that we're doing good things, because it can get lonely out there sometimes,
Absolutely. It definitely does.
Yes,
and like we've talked about, isolation is the worst place to be.
It is.
All right. So last topic. Question. What advice do you have for the emergency services, for the fire service?
My greatest advice would probably be to check up. feel empowered enough in your organization to check up on your supervisors, check up on, your senior firefighters, check up on your company officers, check up on your fire chiefs. A lot of the leadership, including senior firefighters and firehouse sergeants like yourself, we're always so busy taking care of other people, man. And we can get worn out by doing that. And having somebody come up to you, no matter rank, age, race, religion, what have you, just coming in and checking up on you is it's helpful. It's very it's full circle, right?
Absolutely.
And so I would say, definitely check up on people. Don't just check down. Worry about your leadership too, and make sure that they're doing okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, man.
All right. Do you have any shout outs? Anybody you want to say hello to?
Oh my gosh, dude. Hundreds of people. Hundreds. No, but seriously, man, there's some bad stuff going on with the wildfires up in the Northwest. Sean Thomas, who puts on an amazing first responder wellness conference that travels all over the country. She's based out of the Northeast Washington area. And she messaged me today and said that the fires are getting real bad around her house. So just, shout out to them and what they're doing. I hope and pray that they make the best of the situation and nothing, drastic happens up there. But Northern Idaho, my people in Oregon, all the leadership down here, all the people that have supported me along the way, I would not be anywhere close to where I'm at. And then obviously, last but not least, my beautiful wife, almost 10 years now, and cancer survivor, and just a complete badass warrior of a lady. Yes, for sure. If it's not me, it's cancer, right? And she's put up with both of us, so she's a badass. So, but I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Hang out. We'll say our goodbyes off air.
Yeah, man.
All right. All right, everybody. That wraps up another great episode of Firehouse Sergeant Podcast. Episode 9 with Fire Chief Jason Corthell out of the Lone Star State. All right. Stay safe, everybody. See you next week. Have a good week.